In this video, I'm going to show you how to get started with ipyfilechooser. This is a Python package that you can use to develop a widget that allow users to select a file or folders from their computer. This can be particularly useful if you are trying to develop an interactive graphical user interface that allows the user to select a file or folder from their computer without having to write any line of code. And we're going to build on top of the toolbar that we developed in the last video, how to create a collapsible toolbar for ipy But this is just a simple example. You can use that to apply to any other scenarios, as long as you're trying to develop some interactive GUI based on Jupyter Notebook and trying to allow users to select a file or directory. Okay, so first let's go to the website to download the notebook example. You can go to the geodemo.geoshub.org and then click Notebooks, ipyfilechooser. And once you're here, you can click the upper right corner to download this notebook to your computer. It can be any location you like. At the end of this notebook, I also provide a quick animation, so I can open this one here. You can take a look. And this is what we are trying to achieve in this video. So we are going to have a toolbar, and so you have some icon. User can click the icon. They can select a file, for example, a thread file or a GeoJSON from their computer. Then they can add this one directly to the map. So as you can see from this demo, the user does not need to write any line of code. So this is something if you are developing a software or a interactive GUI that allow users to do that. So it would be nice that to have something like this without having to develop a widget like this from scratch using ipy widgets. Okay, so once you have downloaded the notebook, then we can get started. But you might also want to download, for example, some sample data if you don't have anything on your computer. If you like, you can go to the GitHub repository, and I think under the examples, there's a data folder. So you can also download some sample data here from this directory. If you want, I can also maybe you can clone the entire GitHub repository to your computer. So let me just do it this way. I can just copy, then open anywhere you like. I can open the Windows terminal. Then you can use a git clone. Make sure that you install the git, otherwise it might not work. Okay, so right now I can easily clone the entire GitHub repository to my computer. You can also, if you want, you can click here and download this one as a zip file to your computer. So either one is fine. Once you have the repository, then you can get into the repository. Then you can, for example, open the terminal again. From here, we can use conda activate demo. Okay, so this is the environment that we have been using, and then just type Jupyter Notebook. Hit enter. It's open Jupyter Notebook within your browser. Then we can start doing coding. So navigate to the examples, and then ipyfilechooser. If you click this one, it should open the the Jupyter Notebook. So if you want, you can click the link here at the top here to go to the GitHub repository of this package. It's named ipyfilechooser. So you can also just Google ipyfilechooser, then GitHub. You should be able to find this one here. And so this is actually very easy to use, and I'm going to go through example, show you how to get started. First of all, if you have not installed this package, you can just pip install. You can control / to uncomment this line, and then just hit run. You can also install it directly using the terminal. Either way, it's fine. Once you have installed the package, you might want to restart the kernel. So restart the kernel, and then we can start import the library. So control enter, then to execute the first code block. Make sure that you have this one installed, then we can continue. So first of all, you can, for example, specify a data directory. Eventually, if you have a file chooser, you want a user to select a file or directory. So this one here is the initial directory. So in the initial, if I put dot, here you can provide an absolute file path or a relative file path. So if the relative one, then top means the current directory, and then under the current directory you have a data directory. If you go to the GitHub repository that we just clone, then get to into the examples folder, right? So this is the current directory, and then within the current directory we have a data's directory, and this is exactly when the user open the file dialog, it's going to display this one. Let me just execute and then show you. For example, here this is the file chooser, right? If you click the select button, then it's going to show you this default initial directory, and this is the one here that I just showed you earlier, right? This is the directory, and then within there you can also specify whether you want to use the directory icons or not. If you have this one, you want to see, for example, the icon on the left side, and this is where this one is. If it's set to false, then it won't show the icon, it's just the name of the directory. You can also specify the file pattern. So the file pattern, you can specify just a single one, or you can have a list. So this one here, we try to set the file, the filter pattern to a swap file or a GeoJSON, right? So you can have a comma. That means the user will only see the files that match this file extension. So either it's .ssp or .geojson. Then you can just display. So display is a function from the ipython. So this is if you're directly using a Jupyter notebook, you can just use this function. If you're using Python script, then you need to import this function. I'm going to show you in the next video how to do that. Okay, so once the user select any file and then just click select, here it's going to show you the file path, and it can, if they're showing in the yellow color, that means the file exists. If I choose something else, for example, country 2, so this one you can use to select an existing file, or you can create a new file. So in this case, I can choose a new name, and the file does not exist yet. If I click change, you see this one is green color. So green color, that means this is a new file. It doesn't exist yet, so basically you're trying to create this new file. And if I select an existing one, it will be yellow color. So this is just indication. Once the user select a file, then you can actually retrieve the file directory and the file name. So this is the FC, alright. Basically it's just a widget similar to what we used in the previous videos about ipyWidget, right? So every widget you have some attributes. Similarly, for the file chooser, you can also have an attribute. You can use there are a couple, these three ones in here might be very common one that you want to use. So the first one here is selected path. So selected path basically is the directory, right? So this is the file entire full file path that the user select. And the first portion here, this one is the directory. You also have the selected file name. So selected file name, it was just the name of this one. If you want the entire file path, so the full path, you'll be fc.selected. So this one will be exactly the one that's showing in here. Okay, so this is how you can display the widget and also get the attribute from the widget. Once you're done, you can also reset if you want. So keep it in mind, just similar to the ipyWidget, you can have multiple instances, but behind the scene you only have one. So if I reset, that means it's going to also reset this one. So we can just take a look, right? Once you execute the reset function, then this one is gone. So you can reselect if you want. For example, I select this one, you'll be here, then you can reset again. So very easy to use. What you need to do is to set the initial file path and set whether or not you want to use the file chooser, if you want to use the directory icon or not, and then you can set the filter pattern. After that, you can just get the file path, the file name, and also the full path. So this is how you can create the ipy file chooser. And next, so this some of the source code below comes from the example that we used in the last video, how to create a collapsible toolbar. It's also part of from if you haven't done this one yet, you can watch this video. So this is similar to the source code that I showing in the last video, notebooks, and then toolbar. So pretty much exactly the same. That there are some small modification, and I'm showing here. Let's execute like line by line. So first we're going to create a toolbar button, and this is right on this one. It has no actions. Then we're going to have some events. So and execute these two. Now if I click, right, it's going to show you the toolbar and also the close icon. So if I close, this toolbar will be closed. We also add, this is just the header for the toolbar. We can also add a grid. So if it depends on how many tools you have. So this one we are trying to create a 2x2 toolbar, and then with these 4 icons, and within the toolbar we're going to have buttons. So each tool within the toolbar is a button. So right, so we have 4 of those in here. Then we can join these two together to have it look like a real toolbar. So right, so now if I click, right, you will see here you can hide this one, you can show this one, but it doesn't do anything yet. So next, what we want to do is to add some event to this toolbar. So if you click, for example, the open folder open icon, what we want to do is to display the ipyfilechooser, so the file chooser widget, so that the user can select a file from their computer. And this is exactly what we are trying to achieve here at the end of this section. We're going to also, once you have this one, if you want to add to ipyleaflet, then you need to have a widget control. If you want to add any widget to the map, you need to have the widget control. So we create a widget control, and then we can create an interactive map. We're going to add this one to the map. So now we have this one, right? So you can click, it's going to hide the widget, it's going to open, close, right? And if I click this one, it doesn't do anything yet. So next, what we need to do is that because this is just the widget, when the user clicks something, if you want to display the file chooser widget, you also need to have another widget. So in this case, you need to have the other one, basically another widget control. In this case, we're trying to create an output widget. As I mentioned in the previous videos, output widget is very powerful. So it can be seen as a container that you can use to hold any widget. And what we want to do is to actually display the file chooser within this output widget. But first, we need to add this one as a widget control to the map, right? Similarly, we're going to add this one, the position to the top right. So you will just display beneath the toolbar here. And let's just execute. Next, we also try to create a button, right? So when the user select the file, you can have some buttons to apply, to reset, and to close. And this is what this one is about. This one create the 3 toggle buttons. Then you can have these two as a vertical box. So the first line is going to show the file chooser widget. The second row is going to show you the 3 buttons. And then when the user click the button, you want to execute something. So this is what, let me just execute all of these lines and just to show you. So then we can come back to here. If the user click this button, it's going to show you this widget, right? So exactly this is what this one is about. So the button click change, this is a function. So we are trying to observe the buttons, right? So those 3 buttons. This one here, if you hit close now, it's going to close this one, right? If you want to apply, it doesn't do anything because you haven't select a file yet. I can also select a reset. So let me show here. If I select a file, select, and then if you hit apply, or you can just hit reset, you can hit close. So this comes from this function. So the function observe the buttons, so the 3 buttons. This goes to the first one here. The first one basically means that, okay, if you click the apply button and also the fc.selected is not none, that means if the user already selects something, then it's going to figure out, okay, did the user select a swap file or a GeoJSON? So if the user, the f.selected is the full path. If it ends with .hp, that means the user select a swap file. And then I'm going to add a swap file to the map. So this function comes from the some of the couple weeks ago, the function that we added to the package. And so this one provides 2 parameters, like x swap file. You can also go to the This one here, I think somewhere in the past, I mean GeoDemo intro, or maybe I don't remember exactly. The egg functions. You can also look at the API reference and then the GeoDemo, right? So if you here, you should be able to find the add thread file function, and this one you can look at the source code behind if you want to know what it is. So it's going to convert the thread file to GeoJSON, and then from GeoJSON to you can add the GeoJSON to the map. Okay, so if the user select a GeoJSON, it's going to add the GeoJSON, and also the layer name is going to use this as thread file or GeoJSON. Then you can customize this if you want. If the user click the reset button, it's going to reset the file chooser, right? And also if the user click the close button, it's going to reset the file chooser. It's also going to remove the output control. So the output control is hosting the buttons and also the file chooser. So essentially, it's going to remove the control, close the button. And so next here, let me see here. So to click means, okay, if the user click, for example, click this one, if I click, because this one is the folder open icon, and it's going to show this one. If you click other ones, it might not work. So if you click other ones, because we haven't defined anything here. So this one, that means, okay, if the icon is equal to this one, we're going to display the file chooser and also add that control, so add the output control to the map. And lastly, you want to monitor. So all the button has the on-click function. So you can on-click, that means if the user click that button, it's going to observe to call this function. So, and depends on which button is click, it's going to do something eventually. Right now, we only have one button that's actually actionable. If you have more buttons, you can just else if b.icon equal to something else, right? So this icon come from here earlier, that at the top somewhere here, the 4 icons. Okay, so this 4 in here. For example, the next one it can be else if b.icon equal to map. Then you can do something. For example, you can create some other function, allow the users to change the base map, or the info. That means the user can. So these all the icons you can replace to change it to other icons. You can look at the fontawesome.com to find out the icons that you want. Okay, so next let's do some thing here, right? So let's try it out, see what we can do. And so click this icon, it's going to control already on the map. So there might be some bugs in there. Let me restart and run them all at once. This might be related to the control. Sometimes if you remove the control is not removed, if you try to add again, it will run into errors. So this is why I need to do some debugging to make your program robust enough. This is just a demo, so it might not be perfect. And again, I'm click the folder icon open. Then I can select a thread file. For example, I can click the countries.ssp, select apply. Okay, so now we added this one here to the map, right? So this is the country thread file. Then I can reset. I can either close. If I reset, then I can also select the other one. So the next one I'm going to add is US state, for example, GeoJSON, right? So either one is fine. And then just select, hit apply. You should be able to see this one here at the GeoJSON. You can also turn the layer on and off. And lastly, you can also reset, or I can just directly close this one. Okay, and I can also hide this one. As you can see, it works perfectly fine. And this is some like simple application you can do. I can click again, it's going to reopen the file dialog. And this time maybe I add the word cities. You can select, hit apply. Okay, so this one run into errors. Charcoal. So this might be related to the file that it's not using the unique code. So you can either within the function. That means this is at the GeoJSON. So within the GeoJSON, when it's open the file, you might need to use the UTF-8 encoding scheme. Otherwise, sometimes it might not work. So this is kind of a common issues you might run into if you are developing some applications. They're trying to open the file, because the file sometimes use different coding scheme, and it's quite normal. Anyway, so this is all for this video, and in the next video I'm going to show you how to integrate everything what we have done here into the package, so that as you can see right now, the notebook is quite complicated, so we have a lot of source code in here. But if you want to just allow the user to create a map and then automatically have this toolbar without having to write this many lines of code, you can actually do that. So I'm going to show you how to integrate everything we are doing here into the package, so the user just need one line of code and then they will be able to access something like this. Okay, so that's all for this video. Hope to see you in the next one. Take care. Bye bye.